So I've taken that program from idle, I've put it back in here because we're going to do some interesting things with this one. What we're going to do is, you'll notice that we've got a magic number here, 5. How do we know? Well, actually, I guess that was kind of what I wanted. I wanted that 5. So I guess we'll leave that as magic number, but that's definitely a magic number. How do we know these are like 0s and 4s, all that? So we're going to make this so that it will pick a random integer from from this list, no matter how long that list is, and from this list, no matter how long that list is. So we're going to basically fix that because that's a little bit sad. And then the other thing we're going to do, because I don't know if this is going to be as obvious here, but look at this guy. He's really like Giant, and he's really like Song. We're going to make sure that after it picks one of these numbers, one of these values, it knocks it out, so that we don't get the same adjective in that run twice, and we don't get the same noun in that run twice. So that's kind of what we're going to do there. Should be really exciting. So let's get kicking at it. Actually, I guess a quick review in case you didn't watch this right after the other one. So this thing basically brings in the random module, and then off we go with our first list, which is the adjectives. Second list is the nouns. It's going to basically print something awesome. It's now going to go into a loop 5 times, where it's going to go pick a random number 3, 3, and then it goes and it says, okay, I'm going to pick the 3rd, and I'm going to pick the 3rd, and off it goes. And so we can see Giant Harbinger is one that picked, then prints to the screen, goes up back up to the top, goes down, picks again. This guy's now picked the 0, and then it's picked 2. And so then it goes off and it picks, so I guess Lonely Song. And so if we go next, it becomes Lonely Song is the name, and then boom, becomes Lonely Song. This happens quite a few more times. So let's just go through here and get all that done. Where are we at the count? We're at 4. Oh, actually, we're finished. Okay, and then it basically hit to the end with the finished. Cool. So now let's just add a little bit more dynamic stuff going on here. One other thing I'm going to say here, I mean, this is a good time to fix this. Sometimes when you guys are off there Googling and you're trying to figure out how to create Python programs or something, you'll see that there's other ways that you can do an import. So this is probably a good time to bring it up. Import, when I brought up random, and I guess I've gotten rid of it, but the random module's got a lot of things that it could do. And all of those things was loaded into memory. I could, if I want to, I'm only using one thing. I'm only using one method in the entire random module. I'm only using one method. So if I'm only using one method, there's another syntax that you may as well know called from. So I can say, from this module, can you please just bring in the only thing I'm using? Right. So that's just that's not so much a fundamentals of programming thing. That's more of a Python thing. But that's not a bad it's not a bad thing to know. All right, because now this program is going to occupy slightly less space in memory because it's not bringing in everything. It's only bringing in one module. Just to prove that that's going to work, by the way, let's visualize and go to the next line. Boom. See, it had no problem, but notice it only brought in one thing. All right, cool. Next. So how in the world would I know that I'm going to go from 0 to 4? What if I was to add in another thing, like, for example, studious? All right, so now I got studious. This hard-coded going from 0 to 4, it's never going to hit studious. It'll never pick a random number there. Well, what I could do is instead of 4, I could ask it to give me the length, that's a function, length of the list, the length of the list. Okay, I could do that. If I didn't want this just popping up in the middle of my processing section, I suppose one thing I could do is have a variable up here that that would assign it. But as we're going to see later, this value could be changing. So I'm going to leave it right there for now. Okay, so there's a list of the adjectives, copy, and then this is going to be a list of the length of the list of the nouns. Copy and paste. Now, what is the length of the nouns? It's going to be, the length of this is 5. But remember, I originally had this going from 0 to 4, because Python is very, very computerish, and it doesn't go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So what we need to do is we basically need to say that this is going to go the length of the adjectives, which in this case would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but it's going to go minus 1. Length of the nouns, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but it's going to go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So length minus 1. This is a fairly common thing in Python and C and C Sharp, C++. It's a pretty common idea, right? So now what's cool is it will pick a random one of these, and it will pick a random one of these. So Studious gets to be included. All right, so let's run this dude. Go. So we learned 2 ideas so far, making our random more efficient. And this guy gets my list. That guy gets my list. Does the print. I've still left the magic hard-coded number of 5 because as a developer, I've just decided I only want to have 5 of these things. We're not going to run it for the entire loop though, but off we go. Boom, we get a number. Sorry, count is 0 because it's starting at 0. We go next, and it says random not defined. Oh, good point. Yes, of course. It doesn't know what random is, but it does know what rand int is. So much for that. Remember what I said before about when you do tests, change only one thing at one time. I think what I could do here is just remove the random module. That's what I think will happen there. So let's go get rid of my chain. Next, 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 next. Boom. Okay. So just in case you're curious, I'll remind you what I did is I changed this from being import random, which would have brought the whole thing in, to from the random module only bring in rand int. So when I was referencing the random module down here, it's going, what are you talking about? I don't know what that is, and it doesn't. Look at what's in the memory. It only knows what rand int is. So now it knows what rand int is, and I was able to go ahead and grab surprise 3. So now it's going to go get the position of the noun, also 3 for some reason, and then we're going to go in and do this. Okay, cool. So that is working. At least I think it's working. I tell you what, you know what? No, we'll just go through. We'll just go through and do the 5 names. All right, and now it's just about to leave. So count is 4. We're at the end. It's about to leave. It's going to print the last thing. Boom, and then we're done. So pretty cool. I've made this thing dynamic, and it can handle the fact I can add to the list and take away from the list. And if you're a little bit kind of going, this is kind of gross, Grant, we're putting the entire list inside of the program. Don't worry, because we're heading to a world where you'll be controlling this stuff through files outside of your program. So, but for now, we're keeping everything inside. All right, so that's cool. Next thing, once it picks one of the adjectives, I don't want it to ever use it again. I would like it taken out of the list because it is getting rather boring and repetitive to see constantly giant harbinger, right? I'd like it taken out of the list. How in the world would you do that? Well, I tell you, there's a pretty cool thing. If you can Google and figure this stuff out, Python list methods, I keep bringing you. Now, you can come here too, by the way. I'm not saying don't go to the Python documents, but they really have a pretty good list right here in Python W3 Schools. These are methods, or the little programs that come in with some of your objects. Remember, strings can do stuff, and we saw that when we took the Horace poem and we used a string method that split everything up to a list. I mean, you guys don't know how lucky you are that we're in Python, because a lot of this stuff was very hard to do in the old way. So people have now come up with programs that they embed right into the objects. String is an object, integer is an object, lists are an object. And one of the things that a list can do is they have an object here, and a method here. And this is kind of the one I'm going to target right now. We've been using append. We used append last time to basically build a list from I think it was sales or something like that, where we basically went ahead and added to the list. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take things out of a list by popping it out. The idea of popping, by the way, is really, really old in IT. So that's, but what you'll see what pop does is it takes the element right out at a particular position. It just pops it out. So over in here, we kind of know what the position is. We do our little print. So now when we're finished, let's pop that value right out. And the way to do that is you go mention the list, pop, and it pops, it's going to pop out that position. Do the same thing with the nouns. List nouns. Yep, pop. It's going to pop out that position. So when we visualize this execution, we go import. We get our two lists in memory. So there they all are. We're going to go in 5 times. So we go to this loop. We grab this guy. We're at the very beginning of the loop here. We get 3. We get 3. All right. So this is going to be, again, Giant Harbinger that's about to come up. So we go next, and there's Giant Harbinger as the variable. We go next. There it is as the print. Now, this is the new stuff. We're going to pop out position 3. So position 3 will get popped out. Ready? There he is. Giant is gone. It'll never pick Giant again. Our list is smaller now. We're going to go for the nouns. We're going to go and pop out the 3rd position. So Harbinger will be gone. And Harbinger is gone. Now we're back up to the beginning of the next list. So we will never see Giant and Harbinger again because those 2 values are taken out of the list. As we go next, now you can see why I made that dynamic. The length of adjectives is no longer 6 or whatever. It's now going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that was very important that I made that dynamic. I'm going to go next. So it gets my position of 0 right there. Let's see what that one is. Position of 2. So it's going to be Lonely Song, which is kind of a sad name for a mission, but that's fine. So there it is, Lonely Song. We go next. Operation printing Lonely Song, and now we're going to pop out position 0, so Lonely will disappear. And then we're going to pop out position 2, so Song will disappear. Boom, back up to the top. We're going to go back into this count again. We're ready to go on to our next guy, and we go next. So now, and again, thank goodness we made that dynamic. So this is going to pick a random number between 0 and 1, 2, 3, 4, minus 1, 3, right? So 0 to 3, so it's going to pick one of these. This guy's going to pick one of these. I'm going to go next. So pick 3, pick 1. It's going to now create something with Studious 1, Studious Shark. Oh, that's kind of a neat name. Studious Shark. Studious Shark is the name of the mission. We go next. It prints it. Now we're going to pop out position 3. Sorry, so Studious will disappear. Then it's going to pop out position 1, so Shark will disappear. And then it goes back up to the top. We're going to do this again. Now we get our 2 guys are 1, 1. So Blue Lightning. Blue Lightning. Kind of another neat name for a mission. There it is, Blue Lightning. Now we're going to pop out position 1. So blue is going to go. Lightning is going to go. And then we go back up to the top. Please tell me we're almost at the end here. Yeah, 4. So this will be the last run. And it makes sense because we got 4, we asked for 5. So random number now between 0 and 2 minus 1. So it's going to be one of these. And this will be interesting. Random number between 0 and 1 minus 1, which will be 0. So we'll see what happens here. It's 1, 0. Okay, good deal. Phew. All right, and off we go with this guy's going. I'm sorry, what is he going to pick? He's going to pick Hopeless Nightmare. Probably what some of you guys are feeling about the course now. But Hopeless Nightmare, I'm going to go next. So there's Hopeless Nightmare. It prints it up on the screen. Now we're going to pop out position 1. So Hopeless is going to disappear. It's going to pop out position 0. So now we're going to get actually an empty list for Nightmare. For the nouns. It's going to go back up to here. We're now at the ends of the loop. So then it's going to come down to print the last thing. And we're going to go. And it's finished generating names. And that's what's left in memory. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right. That is actually pretty cool. All right. I think at this point, I'm going to stop this video. I'm going to, when we go next, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add to the list dynamically. So we're going to add values to our adjectives and nouns.